Hello, my name's Travis Rhea, and you are listening to the Marvel Card Collectors Podcast.
Hello everybody, my name is Ian Taylor and welcome to the Marvel Cards Collectors Podcast, brought to you by the Marvel Cards Fan Collective, an awesome community of card collectors and creators. You can find our two groups on Facebook, details of which are at the end of this podcast, so come check us out. With me as always is my co-pilot in all things Marvel cards. He made it through 2020 and here he is to take 2021 by storm. He dreamed the impossible dream. The whole world is his oyster. It's his kind of town. He's on top of the world. It's Norrin Rad, baby.
That's great. That is truly epic. That is epic. For 2021, that's actually part of like a little bit of inspiration for me. I'm ready for this.
It's
yeah.
pretty good going. Have I ever told you
That's great.
Tommy Cooper joke? I've told you many good jokes on this podcast.
Great jokes. The best.
Thank you very much. The check is in the mail. Man breaks down by the side of the road, stops a passing motorist and says, "Can you give me a lift?" The motorist looks at him and says, "Sure, you look great. The world's your oyster. Go for it."
It's so great.
50% of the audience is laughing.
They're laughing very, very hard. We should give them a moment so they can hear what we're going to say next.
I'm just going to have a sip of wine and then we'll carry on. Yes, folks, it's that kind of show. Happy New Year. Happy 2021.
We're almost done.
We're almost done already.
We're almost done.
Yes, let's see if your country can survive the recording of this podcast.
I'm going to have to be under some rubble speaking to you. Be like, all right, let's talk about cards, man. I need something.
Yeah. Just get ready to go down to the shelter. Anyway. Hello, everybody. Thanks for joining us. This is episode 2 of 2021. Yes. So
exciting.
It's so exciting. Everyone has heard Uncle Bill, as we call him.
Bill. He was so nice, by the way. I know I say that about everyone, but he was very fun. He was a gem, very down to earth.
He was deeply lovely. I could quite happily get stoned and have a very long conversation with him.
He's a cuddle bug. You know what I mean? Like there's some people you meet and you're like, I can cuddle with that person. Guy or girl, it doesn't matter. Just like, that's the person I can cuddle. That's how I think of Bill.
Yeah.
Cuddle bug.
You'd cuddle Bill, but you'd spoon Bianchi.
Ian, don't tell everybody my secrets. I have a flight to Italy once this is over, so
yeah, once
him and Gloria know the deal.
Anyway, I guess we'd better introduce our guest, hadn't we?
Yes, please do.
Lovely. So, what time is it, folks? Yes, it is Upper Deck time. It's been a few months, but it is the return of our regular sacrificial lamb from the Upper Deck offices coming to talk to us, Slot. And this week, we're joined by the most amazing beard, and if he'll allow us, we will put a photo of it on the tasting notes. Travis Rhea is with us from Upper Deck. Good evening, Travis. How are you?
Great, thanks. Nice to meet you guys.
Hey, Travis.
Absolutely mighty fine. I just noticed while we were doing the intro that you're full on branded. You've got your Upper Deck cap on.
Yeah, it's contractual. I have to do that just in case, there's some product placement that happens.
Hang on a minute. Just keep that still. I'm going to take a snapshot of that. Just hang on a minute. Take a snapshot. There we go. There we go. Wonderful. That's so going on the tasting notes. That's wonderful.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
So, Travis,
I'm a company man. What can I say?
You are a company man. You are a company man. You're wearing a Spider-Man issue 1 Todd McFarlane T-shirt.
Yep.
This is good. This is mighty fine. So, Travis, who are you? What do you do at Upper Deck?
It's kind of a mystery. Like nobody really knows who I am. I stay in the shadows most of the time. I've always felt like it's good to just stay out of the spotlight, and if nobody knows what you're doing, you're probably doing a good job. So mostly, I'm the brand manager for entertainment products at Upper Deck. So I lead the business team on the entertainment products, and that includes trading cards, games, gallery prints, whatever.
Wow.
Yeah, so you've already spoken with some people that I work with, who really do all the work, and I just take credit for it. I'm I'm the guy in the back usually. Most of what I do is not the day-to-day in the mud type stuff. Like I don't build the products conceptually. I don't usually run the day-to-day problems, which you would think that I would run problems, but I don't. Mainly, I'm troubleshooting, putting out the big fires, and also I'm our primary contact with all of our licensors. So, which is probably, I would say, the most interesting thing that I do.
So you know where all the bodies are buried.
Yeah, and I know where my hole is dug for when it's my turn.
Ooh. That's the key to being a good brand manager. You know where to dig your own grave.
Wow, it kind of reminds me whenever. Because we had Jen on, and I know she does a very similar thing in terms of the licensing. I always, hello Jen, by the way. I'm hoping you're listening. Jen was delightful to talk to. Can we have Jen back? Not that you're no good, Travis, but Jen, you're welcome back anytime.
He's already trying to replace you, Travis. This is
Gosh, just started, and I can give her a call. We can just link her in if you want.
You know what? One of these days we will do almost like one of those Celebrity Square panel show things. A YouTube channel.
That'd actually be fun.
People from other day.
Little Brady Bunch opener with everybody looking at each other.
We should do a panel quiz episode with different people from Upper Deck.
That sounds genius.
I'm digging that idea. Right, quick, write that down.
So excited.
I am genuinely. I've just got an image. When they sit there in those little coloured boxes and they push the button and the light comes on and the camera zooms to that person. Anyway, I'm digressing. So when, apart from turning up one day and never leaving, and eventually they started paying you for being there. Yeah. When did you start Upper Deck? What's your background? Where did you come from?
Probably the most unlikely path you'll come across here. I went to school for music education, and so my first real job was assistant band director at a high school.
Wow.
Yeah, very unlikely start to being at Upper Deck. And really, that was not the direct path, obviously. But my family business, the business that my mom's been in forever and that I kind of grew up in, was printing, commercial printing. So I was very knowledgeable on all of that. In fact, when I was a kid, really nights were like, now do your homework. All right, now do this collating for us. That was my typical upbringing. So I was very in tune with all the ins and outs of printing. And so a friend of mine was working at Upper Deck, and she had worked with me in the past in printing, and she said, hey, they've got an opportunity over here on the quality control team. So I'm like, well, that sounds interesting. And music education was great, but it's one of those things where I think for some people, if you love a thing and then you start to teach that thing to people that don't love that thing, it kind of gets a little less fun.
Kills your soul is the scientific term.
A little bit. So I was looking for a change. So I went to Upper Deck. That was in 2008. So I've been there a while. And from there, it was a very interesting path because the economy struggled shortly thereafter, 2008, 2009, with the real estate bubble. And, our type of product is typically tied to expendable income. So the company struggled a bit to make it through those waves that came from that fallout. And due to that, we shortened the staff quite a bit, and there were some other opportunities that ended up popping up for people like me. So suddenly we were looking for somebody to write some copy for entertainment trading cards, namely Marvel. And I've always loved Marvel, collected comic books as a kid, and was in tune with whatever was going on. Like it was my passion still. So I shortly thereafter found myself writing all the copy for all of the trading cards in the evenings on my own time.
Wonderful.
Wow.
It's just I loved doing it, and it was something the company needed. So that was my unlikely intro into the entertainment team. So you've already talked to Bubby Johansson.
Yes.
I he took note of what was going on with the trading cards on the copywriting, and he's like, "Hey, well, you should probably be working on this team." So he made an offer to me to jump over to that side, and I've never looked back. When I went over to the entertainment team, I started in the product development area. So I was working as a coordinator, which is really the unsung heroes of the company. Like, I got to give a shout out to coordinators at Upper Deck, because they work very hard. They're the ones that are really the brick and mortar of the products. You know, they're writing all the checklists, so what characters are going to be in a set, and and they're really taking that vision that the product managers put forth and just running with it and making it reality. So those guys do a lot of work, and it's a great way to understand all the ins and outs of Upper Deck and how the company works, because you really have to interact with each and every department to make those products sing. So while I was on the product team, I started to gravitate towards brand, and then made the move to brand. And I've been on the brand team, I think, past 6-7 years.
Wow. Okay. So you've seen a fair number of sets and changes over those years.
Oh, yes. And, I've seen the entertainment side of our business grow exponentially. Like, Jason and Bubby really did a great job to dive in and kind of reinvent what we were doing. Because entertainment was huge when I started at Upper Deck, but it was in a different realm. It was with properties that we don't work on anymore. And Marvel was there, but was not realized to the extent that we have at this point. Like, they're firing on all cylinders, and we're just trying to keep up, honestly. And it's been great to watch and be a part of. And I love my role at the company in its current state, where I can actually interact with those licensors. Marvel's incredible to work with. They're challenging because they're one of the biggest brands on earth, but there's never a dull moment. They keep the content coming, and they're great to work with, and I really enjoy that part of my job for sure.
That's awesome. That's fantastic.
So
wow. That's so cool.
I'm going to save me going through and trying to guess, because I will do now. What particular sets do you remember doing the card backs for? What's your greatest hit?
Oh, so that was right around when we were trying to reinvent the entertainment side of what we were doing, and really dive into the MCU side of what we were doing, but also service the publishing side. So I think I wrote everything for Captain America, the first movie, and Thor, and also Marvel Beginnings. Bubby did a 3-part series of Marvel Beginnings, so I wrote the copy for that. Now that was a lot of copy. Oh, so much copy.
That's a lot of copy.
Lay them all out. It does actually make the Bible. It's a
huge piece.
I will credit that series, all 3 parts, for really kind of reinvigorating my knowledge base of Marvel. I had a lot there, but to really go into depth on what all of those intros were and the storylines were. Like, I had to do a lot of research just to keep up with that. So it really helped me a lot.
The base is like what, over 300 and something cards, Ian?
It's 180 per set, so it's 540 total. I think, if my sums are correct. Is that right? Yeah, 540. Yeah.
Right, and that was crazy.
I think the last one I wrote for was the Avengers set we did. I believe that was it, the final one. Or I wrote all the copy.
Right. Okay. Yeah, I've got that one as well. Right. I'll go and read. I'll go and have a read of those at the weekend. If I spot anything, I'll fire it over. Be like, "Oi, you got this one wrong." Card 367.
Yeah, that's why you don't tell people you do copy.
Yeah.
I know.
I'll tell you what, copywriting are the unsung heroes. Coming from a marketing background. I mean, I'm sure you've had it.
I totally agree now. I'm being on the other side of it too. And if I did get any of that wrong anyway, they got that hole dug for me, so I know where to go. It's fine.
That's fine.
Take my own block. I can see my own way out. Pardon me.
Yeah, you've made it when there's a hole dug for you.
I did it, Ma.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, normally they just drive you out into the woods and give you a shovel, and you have to dig it yourself.
Exactly.
Yeah. Just so rude, by the way.
Isn't that what they're doing? I've watched too much Breaking Bad.
Too much Goodfellas.
That's exactly what they do. But no, I've made it. I'm a somebody. I got a hole with my name on it. It's great.
Good.
That's great. I don't have a hole yet. I'm hoping for it. Fingers crossed.
Yeah, but
I'll put in a good word for you.
Have to be a pretty big hole.
That's a pretty tall hole. That's a big one for me.
Yeah.
Going to be a lot of space.
And they'll be burying that surfer collection with you.
Well, I told you already what I'm doing. I'm lighting that sucker on fire. I'm not going to let my enemies get that. That's mine forever. I'm kidding. I'm only half kidding.
You're only half kidding. Right. So Travis, so you're kind of the Upper Deck representative of note this week, and you've come to us because we're going to talk about 2021 and what exciting sets we have in store for us. Now, I know we briefly touched on this before we recorded. There will be stuff that you probably can't talk about. So I'm saying that for the benefit of our listeners because they are rabid. I don't know if you ever venture into the social media sphere.
I do.
On the Facebook or the Twitter or anywhere like that. But they're a keen lot. But that's good because I guess it keeps you in employment and Upper Deck
true
running.
Story.
So yeah. So we're in January now, and I'm going to kick us off by saying I'm guessing there's a few things that have been announced that maybe should have come out tail end of last year. And the first one I can think of is Marvel Ages.
Mm-hmm.
So what can you tell us that we don't already know, or what can you tell us about Marvel Ages just generally? To get people
well, it's so
excited.
funny. Like when I was first approached internally about the opportunity to come talk to you guys, my first reaction, and no offense, was, why? That sounds like a terrible idea. Not because I don't want to talk to you, but because most of what I do at Upper Deck is really shrouded in secrecy. I mean, honestly, like I deal with a lot of the business end of bringing in licenses and negotiating the licenses and talking about the future business with those licenses, none of which I can talk to you about. Mm-hmm. And then the calendar. The brand managers set the calendar and try to maintain the calendar, and also kind of set the timing for when the calendar's revealed. So much of that I can't reveal, but you started with Ages, which is pretty smart because that one's completely revealed at this point. Nicely done.
Ian's on this game. He's ready.
I have wine.
Ages is awesome. Like, I'm really excited about Ages. The team is really excited about Ages. It's, as it suggests, it's it's representative of all of the different ages throughout Marvel Comics history. Wow. It gives you that look and feel of something old because the base set's all on clay coat. That really old looking style of paper stock.
Yeah.
So excited.
Yeah, and then the team made the decision to kind of spotlight certain genres that were popular or that people can really resonate with, and so there's an insert that's called Totally Toys, which shows imposed characters as if they're in a blister pack, which I love. It really turned out great. And there's something that shines a spotlight on the Saturday morning cartoons. Like it's really comprehensive too. So we go through Copper, Bronze, Silver, Golden Age. I mean, we really cover it all. There's comic clippings in there, and coin cards, and plexi cards, and there's just the gamut. Like Upper Deck likes to do. There's just a plethora of inserts in this type of product. Wow. It's really going to be a great way to kick off the year with a really robust publishing set for us. And that's kind of an important thing to mention at this point. Is publishing is obviously the biggest of your fans, I think, are the publishing fans, right?
Yeah, we've
more
got
so than the MCU.
We've got a very strong and loyal contingent of MCU people in the groups, and some of them have been on the podcast as well. But I would say that 80% are probably focused on the publishing.
Yeah, just coming like
comic art.
Yeah, coming from the 90s and stuff like that, it's very much publishing, but we're definitely doing MCU quite a bit now too, which is just awesome actually to have both camps in our group. Yeah. But yeah, we're there.
Well, and I love working on both as well, but I will say one of the big challenges that COVID has shown for us is the delay in content. Marvel's pushed back a lot of the live action release dates with good reason. And if they push back, we have to push back.
Yeah.
And so what you're going to find, I think, is there are the front end of our schedule is going to have a few heavy hitters on the publishing side, because that's something that we could actually move forward with, and they were things that were in the hopper anyway. Some things that, as you pointed out, were delayed from last year. Again, COVID issues. I mean, one of the biggest challenges for us is really just keeping the tap open, right? The demand is there. It's really just making sure the supply is there, and obviously manufacturing can be a challenge when companies are shutting down or employees are getting sick. There's just all kinds of challenges abound. So Ages is something that we had been working on, and we're planning on releasing late last year, but we moved it into early this year, and I really think it's a great way to kick it off. I think February 3rd is our release date for Ages, so it's coming right up.
Okay.
Wow.
And I know I love
set. It's a huge set. I mean, I think Ian and I, we did like a little mini episode where we're looking at it, right?
Yeah.
We did. Man, those look those puzzle lenticulars.
Yeah.
I can't wait. That looks crazy interesting. Wow.
Yeah, they're awesome. They turned out really good. They look great.
I think you're pulling in so many fun things from 80th, like it's like especially the retro stock too. I mean, Ian and I were like flipping out about 80th because we're like, oh man, archive cuts are coming back. It just seems so exciting.
We had an internal debate about that. Like 80th was something that Marvel came to me about and said, hey, this is a priority for us. Let's do something together. And we were all about it. Like it's right in our wheelhouse. And so we were happy to jump on that. But we loved it so much that we really felt like it was unfinished and we could do more. And of course, with branding like 80th, obviously it's time sensitive. So we had to put that one to bed. But Ages really picks up where that left off and is even more robust. And I think it scratches that same itch. Like people are going to enjoy seeing that nostalgic look as well as looking at the modern stuff. We cover it all. That's
awesome. And Ages is going to be physical and digital?
Correct. Yeah. It'll be available. Well, when you say digital, it's
digital as in we can purchase on ePack, right? Distribution's digital. Cards are not digital. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. That's always a point of contention, to make sure that we point out that everything's physical on ePack as well.
100%. Yeah, we usually do it on our social medias.
Yeah, exactly. Well, it's a learning curve there, to educate the consumer to understand just because it's online doesn't mean it's just like all the other digital apps out there. There's a physical component to this, and it's a different animal.
It's the biggest thing. It's one of our most listened to episodes and YouTube videos actually is the guide that we did into ePacks, because people come into it and we just point them there and I've even got a block of text on my phone now that explains what ePacks is and then has the links in, because so many people were asking it. It was just getting crazy, and I was just like, copy and paste, here you go.
It's nice to hear there's so much interest.
Yeah.
Oh, there is. I just told I just had a post on Sketchcard Hive about anime, and one of the first comments on there was like, oh, is this a digital only or is this going to be physical? So I had to like PM the guy and tell him what's going on so he would know. But so no, it's definitely alive and well. But I'm glad that everyone feels comfortable enough to ask and kind of figure that out, because ePack is a resource.
Yeah. Well, I think people come into it. If I mention if I mention Tops, there'll be a thunderbolt that comes down. But we
love Tops. We love it.
Listen, I love their Star Wars product as much as the next guy. We won't get into that because no one will be here for half an hour, and this is the Marvel Card Collectors podcast. But people often come into us having experience of that, so I think that's why that's that expectation that it's because it's online, it has to be digital. Then you explain, well, actually, effectively speaking, you're just buying from a shop where you can also trade the cards. It's kind of a different thing. So, hats off for you guys for getting that one off the ground all those years ago.
Marvel Ages, Jason Mashra, credit to him.
Yes, exactly. Well, we've already blown smoke up his ass, so we'll do you this episode.
I've never heard. Just keep going.
Yeah. ages. One of the things that I like about ages is those ones with a little bit of gold and a little bit of silver in.
Yeah,
they're going to be really super limited. Now, this is an interesting question. I'm always curious to know this. Do you? Because obviously you don't make the cards where, obviously you're not in your office now because everyone's working from home, but on your sort of normal day in the life of Travis, you drive into the office. I'm guessing everyone in America drives, so you drive into the office, you're there, you do your work, you go home, but you don't make the cards at that site. They're made somewhere else. You've probably got a couple of manufacturers to do them for you. So how do you see samples of any of that product? Like, so those new gimmick things, are there mock-ups done like the gold ones that you actually see and get to look at and sign off on before they go into full production? I'm just curious to know how that works. And you might not be the right person to ask, but I'm just curious.
So, yes and no. There are cases where we do, and there's certain items that we do, and certain things that we don't. Something like those cards with the metal pieces, we likely would not see. We didn't see this time around, just because it's a technology that is tried and true with Upper Deck. It's essentially a memorabilia card on steroids, right? It's got an item that's dropped into it. Like when we're manufacturing something like that, we're looking more towards, is there anything about this card that is going to be problematic with the manufacturing process? My end of it was, hey, let's buy the gold before gold price goes up again. But for this particular card, it was, let's just make sure that these cards are manufactured in a way to where this heavy piece of something doesn't fall out when a collector has it. But other than that, the technology itself was not something that's out of the ordinary for us or something totally new and different. If it is something that's out of the ordinary and we haven't done it before and it's experimental and we want to take a look, then I will most likely review those samples. So
Gotcha.
The product team will figure out what they want, and they'll work with the purchasing team to find a vendor and see who can do it and do it best. And then we'll commission some samples, and those will come in, and brand team, either me or Jennifer or whomever will review it. Also, our quality control team and our director of creative will review it. So we definitely take a look at stuff that's completely out of the ordinary. And that's one of the things Upper Deck prides ourselves on is the innovation, right? So we're continuously coming up with interesting new ideas and pushing the boundary of what we can actually put into a pack. So it does happen, but not for that per se. That card didn't come through.
Good.
That's why I'm excited about Aegis, having all that innovation in there, because there are so many sets that are coming out now, and you've done some really cool things with MCU too, like Endgame, like the achievements and so forth. I mean, there's been a lot of fun stuff. I mean, Ian and I just recently saw physically the Avengers Endgame cards. Remember, with the transparency around it, Ian? We were just talking about that. Yeah, which was
one
really
in hand.
cool. Yeah, one in hand. Yeah, because we hadn't been able to see it digitally because you weren't able to see the transparency as well.
Right.
But really fascinating stuff. I had never seen that before in terms of having that kind of physicality to it and that kind of texture.
Where it was the plexi background and the foil board printed, die cut and placed. Yeah, those cards are beautiful. I really love them.
Really nice.
Really got to give credit to our director of product development, Grant Sandground, for that. I don't know if you've spoken with him yet, but put him on your list if you haven't.
He's on the list.
He's on the list.
He's kind of our mad scientist of product development, and he rightly so recognized that both him and Jason recognized that this is a tentpole property. It's going to be massive. It might take us a little longer to do this right, but we're going to do it right. And we ended up launching that product, I don't know, I want to say 8 months after the movie release, which is unusual for us, at least at that time it was. And he just really wanted to make a very beautiful premium set, and I think they really pulled it off.
It's very nice. Like, I didn't even realize how nice it was until I saw it in hand, because you just, you know what I mean? You just don't get that effect sometimes, and I can't crack as much product, but really lovely stuff. Yeah.
Well, and it's nice to hear you say that, because, from my position at the company, like I have to weigh whether whether the cost is worth it a lot of the time, whether whether we're going to maintain the numbers that we intended to have, and in this case, it was a redesign. Like there was a product design for Avengers, and then we took another look at it and said, no, let's come at it with a different direction and have it be a little more premium, and so then it came to me as, all right, well, it's going to cost this much more to make this, but we're confident that it's such a value add that it's going to generate this much more revenue. Unfortunately, or fortunately, depending on your outlook, that's kind of where my world is most of the time. Is I'm forecasting revenue for the company and for the licensors, and I have to make sure the products get out the door and actualize that revenue.
Sure.
That's pretty much my critical role at Upper Deck.
I just think I think it did something really interesting and different for like movie and television sets. Like I'm just getting used to those sets now with Ian, because we've been doing a lot of research, Ian and I, and dabbling. You know what I mean? I've been dabbling in Star Wars, been dabbling in more different Marvel sets that I haven't before, because I'm just a Marvel kid by heart, so I love it.
Same.
But it was, I have always been very attached to that brand. But to see a premium product that's associated with a movie or a film is unusual. It's new. You know what I mean? You don't really, the base cards are kind of like second thought, because then you're going for autos and all those kind of pulls. But I really loved how the time was taken for the base. I thought they were really, really cool looking cards.
Well, exactly. I it's awesome to hear you say that. And we've all seen the breaks where people are just ditching the base cards, right?
For
base,
the hit.
Base. Oh, here's a card I like. But you don't see that with Avengers. Like those cards are striking, and people really want to hang on to them.
The thing is with me, I broke a box of anime, and I did it. I'm not a fast breaker, because I actually do like to take the time to look at the cards. And anime was just beautiful. I mean, the base cards in that are just stunning. They're like, most cards chase sets don't get to that quality. They were just like chef kisses to you. So hats off.
Yeah, Peach did a great job on that.
Killed it.
Peach did, but just the production of
the design wise, too.
Just the way that her artwork is carried from her to us as the collector. That middle part that you work on, and your colleagues was flawless on that one. Less so the gold border on the Flair EPAC achievements, but we'll not talk about that this episode. When you're doing your spreadsheets, don't skimp on the foiling. That's what I'm going to say.
Got it. You know what? That's something Jason says all the time. So you're right in line with it.
if we're promised a gold border and we get it, and it's printed and it's not gold, it's not shiny.
His other pet peeve is, and maybe I'm revealing too much. Sorry, Jason.
Go on.
But whenever we have cards that are printed on foil board, he's always telling us, "Hey, stop covering up all the foil with so much 4-color ink. You're kind of wasting the cost of the foil board." And I totally agree with him.
Yeah, more rainbow foils. Can I just say the sets that I've seen with rainbow foil are just amazing. I mean, Norrin and I are both lucky enough to have a single, at least one rainbow foil from Fleer Ultra Spider-Man.
Yeah.
And they're beautiful.
They're nice, man. And the webbing and the like Fleer Ultra Spider-Man and X-Men, such a great job with like the foiling on the web and the X's with the inserts. I really, I don't know, that was really cool to see, because I love the design of that. That was really fun.
Yeah, I did too. Yeah, I'm a big fan of both those sets.
Yeah, Fleer Ultra. I don't know, man. I knew it as a kid, but it wasn't until Fleer Ultra Spider-Man I was like, oh man, I've been missing this kind of stuff.
You know what's awesome? We just have such a wealth of historical knowledge at our company, and I tap it as much as I can, because it's such a benefit to my job to be able to sit down with Jason and say, all right, well, what excited you back in the 90s? Like, what do you want to see? But also our EVP of sales, Mike Phillips, he used to work for Fleer. He was a product guy back in the day, and he's been with us for over 20 years now. But I mean, he's just a wealth of knowledge. Like I every year when I'm setting the calendar, like I'm always tapping Mike and saying, all right, so I want to fill this hole that had this in it last year. What could we do that's similar? And for things like Flair, that came right from Mike Phillips.
Wow, good,
interesting. Interesting.
Yeah,
well, I'll tell you what.
Really fun.
We've been gradually tracking down and talking to some of the unsung heroes of when it all started in the 90s, one of which we can't talk about yet, but it's going to be the week after this one. We'll tell you once we finish recording.
Awesome. Really cool. Really cool.
So Mike sounds like he fits the bill for both current and legacy.
Oh man, wealth of knowledge, and just a fascinating guy.
Right. Well, we got to get Mike on for a bit of a throwback talk about Fleer days.
Ooh, yeah, throwback. I like throwback. Yeah. Well, that's a good title.
Well, we'll swap numbers at the end. So we've looked back. Let's now start looking forward again. So Marvel Ages. One of the things that I know about Marvel Ages, which I know is an exclusive and people really dig hearing, is the fact that those gold and silver cards, when you move to EPAC, will be embedded with a bit of Bitcoin.
Bitcoin?
I was wondering if you were going to get that one. No, that's a nice idea. Digital cards with a bit of Bitcoin embedded in. There you go. There you go.
In 10 years, that might be a thing. 10, 20 years.
Take that to Grant. You can have that one for free. So, Marvel Ages. Oh, my goodness. I can't believe I went there. I can't believe I went there with that.
I was like, that's pretty good.
It wasn't bad. You were wondering where I was going with that, weren't you? I could see your face.
I was.
Yeah.
Ian knows something both Travis and I don't know. This is crazy.
Travis suddenly got a slight panicked look on his face.
Like, oh God. Well, that's the thing, like I mentioned, I'm not really on the day to day with all these products, so I don't know the ins and outs of every little bit of it. I'm thinking, what? No, we didn't do that. For a split second, you got me.
Wonderful stuff. Right. So Marvel Ages. What next can you tell us about? Because I know we've got Black Diamond on the schedule, and we are going to be having a guest to talk about Black Diamond. But do you want to talk about that at all anyway? Can you tell us much about that?
Black Diamond's awesome. Like, we're really excited for it. I Grant Sandground, who I mentioned before, I think he's coined Black Diamond as, in his opinion, if we pull it off the way he wants it to be pulled off, the best entertainment product we've ever built at Upper Deck. So that gets my attention. And what's really cool for me as a brand guy about Black Diamond is Black Diamond the brand. Like, on the entertainment side, I got to admit, like, it's both exciting and challenging that almost everything we do is custom. On the sports side, those guys get to pick up and reuse brands year over year. We just don't have much of that on the entertainment side. Obviously, Masterpieces is something that we've kept going, Premiere as well, but there's very few annual as well, very few brands that we can pick up year over year and continue to do. Black Diamond is just a brand that has so much equity within the industry and within our company, and we're just super excited to introduce that to an entertainment brand. And so it's going to have all of the similar feelings of a Black Diamond break that you would have on a sports side, but we're obviously focusing on all the Marvel stuff and the MCU stuff, and there's a great lineup of actors, and I can't tell you all the actors. I can tell you that you're going to see some return that we've had before that are big names, and then we actually have included a few that we have never had before. So I got to leave that to Mike Phillips. He likes to reveal the actor list. So
fair enough.
I don't want to steal his thunder, but it's a great list, and the product is coming together and so far on schedule for March. So we're excited to see what that looks like when we get it.
Lovely.
I'm excited to dabble. I've never dabbled in like an MCU set, not really. So I'm definitely thinking I will be partaking in Black Diamond. Sounds like it's up my alley. I'm excited.
Yeah, and this is really going to be the premier price point version of MCU side of what we do on the publishing side. So the price point's pretty high. Because everything in there is going to be valuable.
Wow, that's exciting.
It might be a very expensive dabble, so
it might be a. Oh shit!
Fair warning.
What can I sell? Give me a second. I'll be back. Let me look in my pile here. Got to fund the hobby with the hobby.
Got to fund the hobby with the hobby, and because you run out of kidneys.
Yeah. I have no organs. I'm surprised I'm using words right now. So.
You're holding up. You're holding up.
My head on a stick. I'm good. I'm still looking good. From back up.
Doing all right. You're like Jack Skellington from what's that film? Nightmare Before Christmas. There we go.
What's this? Classic.
Right. So we got Ages. We got Black Diamond.
Yeah. Let me throw a couple others at you here that maybe are not on your list. We're going to have an EPAC exclusive called Marvel Unbound. That one, think of it as kind of a Masterpieces light. It's not going to be like as robust as a Masterpieces set, but it does focus on a single artist, and focuses on original artwork from that artist, not only in the base set cards, but also in sketch cards, both regular size and 5x7s. Like it's got a lot in there. It's got his autographed cards as well. It's going to be one of those that just focuses on high-end stuff, serial numbered cards and auto cards and sketch cards. And that'll be on EPAC exclusive coming up very shortly.
Wow.
Sorry, I got some drool coming out of my mouth. Sorry. Hold that. I don't want to. Sorry.
We've lost Norrin. We've lost Norrin.
I'm good.
Unbound.
I'm good. Unbound.
So some of the EPAC exclusive stuff ends up being, I don't want to say an ambush, but kind of a surprise to the general public sometimes, because we don't flow it through our normal marketing machine that we do with Upper Deck. So that's why I wanted to mention it here, because it's coming, it's imminent, and it's going to be a good one. It's going to be very interesting. It's going to be in a weekly pack format. So
nice.
Content released on a weekly basis.
Fascinating.
Yeah. So
we're really mixing it up.
The living sets that you get.
Yes. Yeah. Much like that.
Wow, that's exciting.
So we're trying to come at you guys in a lot of different directions and keep it all very interesting. And
shall I just get my wages diverted straight to Jason's account?
You guys have a program for that? Is there a way we can just...
I thought you guys were on payroll already. Like we probably shouldn't be talking if you're not Upper Deck employees. I was misled.
I was just about to say.
What was it? So hang on a minute. So that's going to be a weekly format.
Yep.
Original art, high end. I love it. EPAC exclusive.
Original art, but also doing sketch cards, and the artist.
And it's a male artist. Okay, all right, lovely stuff. Right.
No, it's a male artist.
Male artist.
And it's one that we've used before mostly for sketch cards in the past. And that's all the hints I'll give you.
Okay. Wait, I got to write all. So you guys
people are going to be like replaying and fast forwarding and rewinding this bit of the episode and just like, right, okay, what were the clues? What did he say? What did he almost say? What word did he start and then stop? Okay, good.
It's all subterfuge. Don't believe anything I say.
Does that
I told you, everything I do is shrouded in mystery and secrecy.
You are the sorcerer supreme of the Upper Deck world.
Oh wow! Well,
you've got the beard.
I think there's got to be a raise that comes with that.
Well,
that's a good job title. That's the one they should be giving right there. Sorcerer.
I kind of wanted Brand Master for years, but I kind of like Sorcerer Supreme.
Brilliant. Let me just write that down. Brand Master. We will actually put that on the episode title. The Brand Master.
If you do that, I think I could probably put that on a business card then.
Yeah, we can official do it. We can put it out there, and if we credit you as that, then it's done. It's in the public domain.
It's done. All right.
Good. Okie dokie.
This is really working out for me, I got to say.
It is. You're doing well this episode. You're doing better than anyone else did so far. Everyone else got more lockdown. So does that mean that there won't be a Marvel Weekly set this year?
Not necessarily, but
well answered.
Let's just say this is going to be a new look and something we're trying to get off the ground.
Good. Okay,
I'm excited.
That's good.
Speaking of EPAC, a couple more things to put on your radar here.
Go on. Tell me.
So, EPAC has allowed us to be, I would say, a little more nimble when it comes to developing different SKU types, right? So we don't necessarily have to build out the most robust hobby style trading card product for every property, especially if it doesn't make sense to do that. We can cater things a little more towards what the property is and get a little more creative with it. And we don't have to drop a giant sum of money on packaging or anything like that. EPAC has its own expenditures, of course, and costs, but I think it allows us a lot more flexibility, not only in product type but timing to market. It's been a great channel for us. Recently, I think late last year, we launched Marvel Runaways as an EPAC exclusive.
That's right.
Yes.
So we're going to follow up with Cloak and Dagger in the same format.
Just the hits. I love the fact that was a reasonable price point.
Yeah.
For a hit. I love it.
It was
And
nice.
look, it's a great property. It had a lot of attention, but it's not where Marvel's focused right now. So it's going to be we're going to service it for sure because we believe in the property and we want to make sure that it's got its day. But it's not something that there's going to be a huge marketing campaign behind from either Marvel or us. So it's just something I want to put on your radar as something we're excited to bring to you.
Good. Well, I've yet to see the series because I don't think it's aired in the UK, or at least not on a channel that I can get. But it's on my list. It's on my list for sure because I love Cloak and Dagger from back in the day. Absolutely.
I saw the pilot for Cloak and Dagger. I saw a couple episodes actually. Really strong stuff. They got 2 really strong actors for that as well.
Yeah, they did.
Really nice property. Yeah, they really did. And they do the transformation for Cloak and Dagger and like the relationship that they have there, and the special effects are really, really subtle but very clean. Very clean.
Yeah, and that's always the challenge, right? Some of those shows just live or die by those special effects.
Well, I agree too.
Well, that's why Jessica Jones worked so well, because you didn't need the special effects. You had that wonderful performance and that insidious power that David Tennant's character had.
Yeah,
that just made that work. I haven't seen. Was there a second series? I didn't see the second series yet.
There was a second series. So, like for Jessica Jones, what was really strong was like them working with themes of trauma, and then really what gave you the clue that trauma was coming, or it was about to be, issued or whatever. You have this beautiful purple light, so it's all cinematography for the special effects. You know what I mean? It's all based on lighting. And then Luke Cage was really strong because of the set designs. Being in Harlem and everything like that. It was just really strong, good color, good set design.
They set with all the music, and they did a great job of that, just from a theming perspective.
Yeah,
I'm
really.
just in the middle of getting into the Defenders set. Thank you, 2-for-1 sale on EPAC last week, I'm kind of digging it. I have to say. So
it's really nice. I've seen you pull stuff. I mean, we've talked a little bit about it. It looks. I like the autograph cards. They're like files or whatever. Or whatever they look like. Really
they're
cool.
the House of the they're the House of the Dragon for whatever it is, that Chinese restaurant they all eat in the Defenders.
Oh yeah.
I can't remember what it's called.
Hangout spot. I don't remember either off the top of my head.
Where they get stuck for an episode, and then there's like people.
That's right.
And they just argue for most of the episode, is what I remember. It was kind of like
heroes meeting and immediately fighting.
Like heroes. Yeah. Well, it's like some sort of family dinner where none of them get on. It's like this most bizarre episode. But it kind of worked.
I love it.
It kind of worked. And then you had Elektra coming in at the end, if I remember correctly, and having a bit of a rumble with them.
I think so.
But I at some point, Norrin, we are going to do a Netflix verse focused episode.
Oh, that'd be fun.
Just put I love that. Now, where we're going to talk about the Daredevil sets. We're going to talk We're going to talk about the Punisher set. We're going to talk about the Defenders set. We're going to talk about the. Is that it?
Good.
I think that's it.
Oh, Punisher. There we go.
Punisher, yeah.
Yeah, because there wasn't a Luke Cage or Jessica Jones.
That's a good episode. I think that'd be really fun. We should do that soon. Maybe on the next TV release that comes out or whatever, we'll kind of gear it around. That's a good.
We'll see if one of the key folk from Upper Deck who works in the team might be able to join us for it.
Yeah. I mean,
I think he's dropping.
It's hard.
Okie dokie. So we've got Unbound. We've got Ages, we've got Unbound, we've got Cloak and Dagger. Just saying those together, they sound like characters from a Beckett play. What else? What else can you tell us? What else is coming?
Well, let me preface by saying I'm not going in any particular order here, and a lot of dates are a struggle to nail down in today's situation that we find ourselves in.
I understand.
However, I will say we try to stay in sync with Marvel and what's going on there and what they're up to. Of course, that means whenever they drop a live action movie, we're right on top of it. Now we all know their big push is the Disney Plus TV shows. Mm-hmm. So we're going to try to sync up with that as best as we can. So out of the gate, we're going to do a WandaVision product.
Yes.
We've been working on that with them, and it's coming together pretty nicely. So look for that in probably Q2 of next year, hopefully.
Okay.
Wow. Wow.
Next year or this year?
This year. Sorry, this year. I do that all the time.
You're so
It takes me a few
2020.
weeks to get past the year change.
No worries. Well, that's going to be a really fun set because you'll be able to have, I mean, you can't say anything, but like it'd be fun to have go through all the different ages, the type of TV series, the black and whites. So I'm sure you guys have a lot of fun stuff planned for that.
Oh,
set.
yeah. That one I'm most excited about out of everything they're doing on the TV show side this year, just because of the visual aspects. Like I can't wait to get those images plugged in.
Wow.
And to be honest, like from a business perspective, from my end of the job of the company, Marvel is definitely challenging us with the live action stuff coming up in the next couple of years. Like they just are popping off, and it's gonna be a challenge to stay in sync with them and just to frankly keep up. Like they've got so much going on the TV side, and the movies are popping off. It's going to be interesting. Like it's awesome. I love the influx of content, but it's going to be a challenge. I gotta tell you.
Yeah, I can imagine. Wow, I can imagine. Yeah, all the releases, all the phases, everything that's coming up. I mean, it's hopefully really popping off now.
Yeah,
pretty exciting.
We're in one big phase now with Marvel. There's no longer the numbered phases. It's just one long phase. Forever and ever. I know what? I'm absolutely fine with that. Take my money now.
I'm not complaining.
Yeah, I'm good with that. Thank you very much.
I'm here.
Wow, that's exciting. So WandaVision. Not One Division, but WandaVision.
WandaVision.
I don't expect you to go back into the music side of the trading card. Did you know, Norrin, that Upper Deck back in the day, and I'm talking back in the day now, did a Ricky Martin
back in the day. Living la vida.
Because it keeps coming up on eBay UK searches for Upper Deck products.
Oh, really? Does it?
For some reason, there's a lot of that product in the UK. I don't know why, but there was a Ricky Martin set. It's cheap.
How is the price on that?
It's cheap.
Third market's killer.
It is. I'm going to get some graded and see what happens. Because these things always come around. These things always come around.
You might be in the know, man. You don't know. Instead of Marvel in the future, it might just be Ricky. I'm going
to start investing
Ricky
stuff.
Martin.
You know, all that Inkwork stuff that I invested in and graded a couple of years ago. Its day will come. Anyway,
and you're going to be in a mansion.
Make a call. I mean, try to make a deal. Do the nostalgic play. We'll just rehash this. Ricky.
Do it. We'll do it afterwards.
Travis gets it. Afterwards. Don't let everybody in on it.
Okay, so WandaVision, lovely stuff.
We're on the live action subject.
Yeah.
What was that?
I keep wanting to say what's next, and eventually you're going to stop telling us stuff. So I'm just going to keep asking what's next.
I'll keep going. Those of you who may have wondered if we're ever going to make a Black Widow product, we are going to make a Black Widow product. We were delayed with the movie delay, basically. And so we're syncing up closer to when the actual movie launches.
Nice.
Wow.
However it ends up launching, we'll be ready. That product will be EPAC exclusive as well.
Ooh,
but not exciting. not in the form of Runaways and Cloak and Dagger.
Sure, yeah.
Animal.
Yeah.
But excited to launch that. We've been building it a while, as you can imagine.
I was going to say the film's finished. It's literally sat in a can on someone's shelf, ready to go. So,
that poor film's been pushed back quite a bit.
Yeah. Wow.
What an interesting year.
I'm excited about that because I really like the actor David Harbour.
Yeah.
And I know he's signed for cards. I've got his autograph card from the Bond film that he was in. And of course, Stranger Things.
Yeah. I love Rachel Rice. How do you say her name? Is that how you say it? What? Vice. Rachel Vice. Okay. Yeah. Sorry. Sometimes I hear it. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. No, she's great, man. I'm excited about her too.
Rachel Vice, come and give me a kiss.
It's not a Marvel podcast without
Craig's wife, so I can't say anything bad about her because he will come and do me in.
Sure.
Because he's a very fit man.
I feel like we've talked about threats to our personal being like several times on this call. Like we're all in imminent danger, I think.
I think it's because we're all in slight kind of persecution mode because of the world events that have been happening recently.
There's some legitimacy to that.
worried about their well-being.
We're all in fight or flight mode. Unfortunately, we're not fighting.
Good point.
So yeah, good. All right, Black Widow. Excited about that one, and I know. You know what? I know you can't tell us this, but I know a lot of people will be very, very, very excited if ScarJo finally signed.
Well,
I know you can't tell us that, but yes.
Yeah. Moving on.
Knowing can forge.
I totally understand that sentiment. I really do.
Knowing can forge it. If not,
she's
very good.
Yep.
Good. Right.
Moving on. Let me distract you a bit to another publishing set. We talked a little bit about some of the retro stuff, that nostalgic play, right? That everyone's really interested in, including myself. I don't know if it's dropped yet, but the solicitation should be coming out pretty quickly if it hasn't. But we're going to do another Fleer Ultra.
Yes.
This time focused on the Avengers.
Sorry.
So we are hot and heavy on that one right now, working hard on it.
Oh my goodness me.
That's gonna be crazy.
Yeah, it's gonna be awesome. It's the Fleer Ultras. They're a pleasure to work on in the building. There's just so much content in there.
Okay.
So much fun.
We've had Fussum, we've had Fuxum, and now we've got Fua.
I'm glad you didn't refer to it as FU Spider-Man or FU X-Men, because I've heard that a few times.
Really?
I'm sure from the poor people who are actually signing the cards or scanning them for EPAC, one of the two.
Yeah.
I don't want this anymore.
Wow. Okay.
That's exciting. That's
will
so
that
crazy.
be kind of a similar? I know it's not your top premium, but it is a premium product in the fact that it's it's a thicker stock and it's original art, that kind of thing. So, are we on the same lines?
Yeah, we consider that kind of a mid-tier product. Not the top, but definitely not the bottom. It's definitely got a premium feel to it, but not the highest price point. It'll be similar to its predecessors.
Okay, interesting.
So it's also original art then, for sure.
There'll be a portion of that in there. Yeah.
Sorry. Yep. Yeah, maybe.
Well, I'm
like poor Travis. I'm like that. Don't lay it so thick.
I find it interesting that you perceive that as a mid-tier, because on the publishing side, we definitely view that higher than that.
Yeah, Upper Deck, I think particularly through the last 10 years has really focused on positioning ourselves as the premium brand, right? We're not going to have a lot of entry-level products out there. It's just not part of our brand identity. Yeah. And so really for us, that lies in kind of the mid-tier realm.
Okay. For the number of times we're asked that question that you just answered, can we soundbite that little clip of you saying entry-level products, that's not our and use it and just hit a button? Because you wouldn't believe the number of times that people ask us about that kind of thing. So that's interesting. That's very interesting. Okay.
It's there's a place for it out there, but honestly, with us, like we've noticed the trend kind of away from that entry level price point, and that is reflected mostly at mass retail. There really hasn't been I'll say mass interest in that particular type of product at mass in recent history. So that and that kind of thing fluctuates all the time. But
yeah, of course,
the hobby hasn't shown very much interest in that. So we're trying to do what people are wanting the most.
Yeah. Well, yeah. There's no point in making. You make a product for the market that's demanding it, I guess, don't you? So,
right.
It's very interesting that. You mentioned the whole retail side of things. Is that there's one particular product of NFL cards. It's the Contenders line that I like to buy. Mm-hmm. And when you buy a hobby box of that, it's a few $100s, but you can buy a retail version of that box in Target. Because I did so last year when I was in the States for about $40. The base cards are exactly the same. You just get a few of the hits. And it's beautiful product. Anyway, I digress.
And we've done that a few times with the MCU stuff, but it's really been a while. I think the last time that we did that was probably Spider-Man: Homecoming. It's been some time. But yeah, it's a mechanism we're familiar with for sure.
Well, listen, I'm still enjoying getting where I can and seeing people breaking those Walmart mystery boxes, which I know is Upper Deck made product. So so they're a ton of fun. They are. But anyway,
I'm happy to hear that.
Yeah, no, I love them. There's cards in there I've discovered that I didn't know existed. Because there's a whole mystery side of Upper Deck stuff, and it's not documented at all. And you're the best person to broach this to, actually. And even the big sites like Jeff Allender's House of Checklist don't have a lot of mention of it. Is some of the versions of the MCU sets that you made specifically for Walmart.
Right.
And there's one particular. There's a Civil War set that is completely different and has completely different inserts, completely different chase cards. I've no idea how many of the chase cards there are because it's not documented
versions
anywhere.
Of the packaging, so
yeah, it does. It does.
Found both of those.
It does. Yeah, one with Iron Man and one with Captain America. And then there's there a couple of years ago there was a little gift pack that was given away at the San Diego Comic-Con Upper Deck booth, and it was promoting EPAC, and it was a little cello, it was a clear cello pack, and it had a guide to EPAC, and it had a couple of cards in there, and it must have been 2017 because it had I bought a few off eBay, and two of them had a Fleer Ultra Spider-Man base card in, which was lovely, and a couple of MCU cards, and one of them had a variant rainbow parallel of the Thor Ragnarok set that you just can't get anywhere.
I wasn't even aware of that.
Mystery. Yeah, it's a real mystery.
That's actually news to me. Like some of those cello wrapped sets, like I don't. It's not part of our like regular product line, so it's not something I'm always aware of.
One of these days, I'm going to make a trip over there, and I'm going to break in the office. I'm going to find the filing cabinet with the checklist in because I just want to know. I really wish you guys would actually put out.
This is when they stop talking to us, Ian. Don't tell them.
No. It's fine. We get that too.
Yeah, I know where they are, but
that's something we need to do a little. We need to be better at for sure. Getting those checklists out there.
That's fine. Sorry, it just occurred to me. Right. So Fleer Ultra Avengers. I'm still reeling from that one. Now I know
that's crazy fun.
Black Cat's not an Avenger, so I'm kind of safe on that one. So that's okay because I'm mentally going through and I'm ticking off the sets that I need to worry about. I know I need to worry about Marvel Ages with regards to Black Cat. I know I need to worry about that, and I might need to worry about Afro Unbound as well. But for Cloak and Dagger,
I'm
Wonder
excited
Vision,
about Unbound,
Black Widow, and Fleer Ultra Avengers. Unless she turns up on a sketch card, I'm good, bro.
It's always possible.
he is just leaning back, it's like, I'm gonna be able to save some money. Totally fine.
Good. So, is there another product that's coming out that might have Black Cat in?
Yes, I would say. So this one I'm going to be a little more vague about.
Yes.
But I'll say a certain premium product on the publishing side of what we do that's very much focused on sketch cards. We'll be returning again this year.
Yes, someone did ask a direct question about whether there would be one of those sets this year.
Yeah,
so.
That's exciting.
So that's well underway.
Very exciting.
And if I can get some Black Cat in there, I'll definitely do it.
Listen, I've barely been able to get any sketches from that particular set from any of the previous years because they just go. So
yeah, they do. Yeah, they do.
Yeah. Which is
and you know what? Yeah. That's one of those sets that I know Mike Phillips, our EVP of sales, would love for us to make a lot more of, but honestly, we just can't. I mean, it's so dependent on original artwork, and for it to be high quality original artwork that we just we can make what we can make, and anything more than that would ruin it. I think. In a lot of different ways.
100%. Especially a set like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
No. Especially a set like that, you can't. Once you start overproducing a set like that, it loses its luster. In my opinion, that's how I am.
I agree.
I like that stuff.
I agree with you on that one completely. Yeah. Good. Oh wow, that's exciting. Okay.
That's so great, man. Wow.
A set we can't talk about, but we know what it is. That's exciting. Good. Okay.
Good.
And you mentioned anime a bit ago.
Yes.
Just to give you some insight on what anime is or what it was intended to be, we have great partners in Asia for distribution, and they give us a lot of feedback. I've had some great conversations with them, but one thing I was noticing was they weren't gravitating towards the publishing product very much that we produce. MCU, sure, but not publishing. And some of the feedback we got from them was, the artwork is not resonating over here. Could you do something about that? So we plugged in anime to the schedule, and unexpected surprise, it did very well domestically. It did very well over here, and it was well received. And of course, Peach had a big part to do with that. She did a great job. But that's something that is intended to be a recurring brand. So I'm really hoping to bring that back semi soon.
Smart.
Not saying it'll be this
smart.
year, but it's something that you should see returning eventually.
It should be. When Ian and I were cracking product and talking about it, I was like, anime needs to be one of those staples. It needs to be, and you could tell with how the product was released in terms of the inserts and everything like that. I was like, nah, this needs to change from artist to artist. This is going to be an evolving thing.
Right.
This is a staple. I think that's brilliant, man, because that set, my wife and I opened up a box together, and she has impeccable taste, better taste than me. So sometimes when I get sketch cards and I'm like, oh man, I really love it, she's like, nah, and then walks away. I'm like, how dare you? Don't ruin this for me. But it was really nice because we got to open some packs together, and she was looking at the cards. She kept a dagger. She kept Spider Gwen and some other ones as well. She was like, this is really cool. I love the foiling effect, and it was just really nice because for me, I think the big surprise for me, even though I loved everything, anime really, it brought back that 90s kind of feel that I had. It really, for me, it did, at least. I felt very, awesome. It was a really nice experience. I really enjoyed that product.
I loved it. It was
That's good to hear.
It was
look for it in the future then.
It was my set of the year from last year.
Yeah, right? Yeah.
Awesome.
The same way.
Wow.
Yeah, no disrespect to the others, but it's something about it just, and I wasn't expecting it at all. It was like,
me neither.
I mean, in a year that saw masterpieces return, that's a big statement.
I know, and I apologize to Dave on that one, but I think the thing that slightly pips it for me was just the surprise of it and the fun of it. It just was unexpected. Whereas with Master, the artwork is amazing, on all the Masterpieces
really
sets. So that's kind of not the thing that makes it the very close runner-up on that for me. It was the fact that it was, Masterpieces. We kind of knew what the structure was going to be, and
and it didn't disappoint. Right. The metal cards were new. There were really great things about that set. Metallurgy was a hit. But
anime just completely came out of left field. It was like it was like a great big kiss on the lips at midnight on New Year's Eve that you weren't expecting, and it was beautiful, and you spend the rest of the year dreaming about it. It was kind of one of those. So I love the fact that you kind of very casually said, oh yeah, we got to do an anime set, and then we got Peach, and it's like I can imagine that phone call. It's like yeah, Peach, babe, Peach, sit down, we need you to do this. We want you to sign that many cards. Yes, we do.
Yep.
Poor Peach. I can only imagine that poor woman had to do all that stuff.
I'm very thankful that that's not my role at Upper Deck, because some of those deals, like I mean, it's amazing that it all comes together sometimes. Like I would have the sticker shock when I saw the number of cards to sign, but in reality, like it's the perfect equation. These guys work really hard at finding what ratio is best and maintain the value, and it's I mean, they do a great job. So it's a matter. There is somewhat of a learning curve there, right? I mean, make sure that people understand we're not flooding the market with these. This is based on an exact math, basically. And credit to, I think, Jennifer, whom you spoke with. I think she made that deal. So
rockstar.
Kudos to her.
So it was Jen who was going, Peach, babe, sit down. I want to make you a deal.
That's
It's
right.
just a little no.
Oh, you're gonna love this deal. You're gonna love it.
You're gonna love it.
Jen's voice is not like that. She sounds lovely. Okay.
Oh, really?
She does lovely. No,
I guess.
well,
I guess I had it wrong.
yeah, that's her deal. That's her deal.
Maybe
voice.
she's a little more gruff in the office.
Squealing with excitement like we do about all this exciting product coming up. So, okay. So we've got a sketch-based set that we can't name that is potentially returning. We've got a potential second anime set in the works. Exciting. You know, I think everyone's going to be on the floor by now. Have you got anything else up your sleeve for us, Travis?
Ooh.
Or is the cupboard bare?
You know, it's just some obvious stuff, I would say. You know, we're definitely working on a product for Shang-Chi and also Eternals.
Oh, yes, okay.
I would say our director of product development is very excited about Eternals and is really throwing a lot of bells and whistles into that. So that's going to be a fun set. It's one of those properties where you're just expecting Marvel to knock it out of the park again, right? Because everyone, I think, was a little bit nervous when Guardians of the Galaxy was coming up. You know, this is a team that not everyone who's a Marvel fan is familiar with. How well is this gonna do? Actually, credit to Jason Mashra. He had some foresight on that when there weren't a lot of consumer products in the market for that movie, but he really believed in it, and it paid off for us because it did really well. The movie was huge.
I mean, that movie reinvigorated characters that no one cared about. I mean, in all seriousness,
the relic cards are gorgeous.
No, it's a beautiful set too. No, it's pretty impressive thing what that movie was able to do for those characters. Because I mean, who would have thought Groot would be a household name? I mean, no one. I mean, I don't know anyone who had been that confident that character would have become as popular as he had.
Here's a funny story. Hopefully it's funny, and hopefully I'm not in that hole by the end of the week. Yeah. But so on that particular set, I was working in the product development side at Upper Deck. You know, that was when I was kind of newly on the entertainment side, and so I was trying to figure out how to bring all the memorabilia together. You mentioned the relic cards. Bubby had designed that product. And he had so many different memorabilia cards in there. It just was chock full of different styles, so many different ones. I think there was even one that had all the characters on one card with small swatches of memorabilia. The challenge I had was, how are we going to make memorabilia cards of Rocket and Groot? I really want to do this. So you would not believe the number of crazy samples that I got from all over the globe of like fake bark with moss on it, some fake fur. This is raccoon fur, but I really like the way the otter fur looks. It looks more authentic. All of that shot down because it was just weird. The producers, I think, on the Marvel side probably didn't see the point in us trying to replicate the skin of an animal. so none of that made it to the product, but it was fun trying anyway.
Cards, how's this coming?
Yet Guardians 2 had Rocket Raccoon costume cards, 2 of them.
Yeah, it was just the costume, the orange costume.
The costume, yeah.
Because there was someone on set with like bubbles on them. That character.
There was a small little puppet too. You had the like stuffed raccoon on set thing. I think I saw that in some kind of behind the scenes stuff as well. Well, you did a really great. Ian and I talked about this. Is the Ant-Man and Wasp, right, Ian? Where you had
micro swatch.
The micro. What a cool. That was
different tiny bits of costume.
I think maybe the smallest swatches we've ever done.
I really need a copy of that card.
Really,
that was really entertaining to watch that process go down. So one of the roles of the brand team is to see if you can realize the vision for the product managers, right? Like it's not all going to work. And especially you, I think you guys. I think the first Upper Deck employee you talked to was Matt Rogers.
Yes.
Yeah.
He's no longer with our company, but he designed that particular set, and that micro swatch card was a brainchild of his, and he was so adamant to get that through the system, and our operations was like trying to figure out how to make this a reality. So it's one of those tag teams where we had to keep jumping back and forth and saying, well, if we try it this way, or if we try it this way, and how do we get it to not cost so much? It was a dance, and to his credit, he got it through the system, and it turned out to be pretty compelling. So kudos to him.
Crazy. Definitely memorable. Definitely, we should do an episode of top 10 memorable cards type of thing of like 2020 or 20
or memorable.
Oh, memorable, like design
okay.
Memorable, like cards that are kind of like new and different. Yeah, we are talking about memorabilia, so that would have been more on point. But there's how my brain works. Yeah.
We could do a poll in the group.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Divide and conquer.
Yeah. Well, it would give us some ideas at least, you know.
I agree.
Quite frankly, it give us some ideas.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Exactly.
Actually, yeah,
exactly.
that's actually really fun.
We know you like to watch. Anyway.
That's right.
That came
From
out,
the shadows.
Came out wrong. That came out wrong. So I've written instead of Eternals, I've written Externals, which is an entirely different type of product. We won't talk about that on this family-based podcast. So you can't take me anywhere. This is not true. Well, this is exciting. I have to say, your cupboard must surely be bare by now of things that you can lay on us.
Well, I will tell you a couple more things because that's just the giving mood I'm in. So, I don't know.
Yay!
We're gonna roll out annual again. That's one of those brands.
I had that on my list of questions. Yep.
So that's so far scheduled for about mid-year this year.
Good.
Hey, look, I said it right. This year, not next year. Of course, there's going to be one next year too if all goes well.
Well, hence the annual.
Yeah, that's the annual. And then there's one more retro style product in the hopper that I can't talk too much about, but it is going to be based on a certain team that I always thought was kind of whiny. You know, they have problems, and just because they're different and they're kind of
they're doing a power pack set, Norrin.
No, it's bigger than that, and I'm going to be heavily chastised for it because everyone seems to be a fan of this team except for me. I never was. It was a team that really made their rise in the 90s. Big fans of that team in the 90s.
Okay.
Our company president's a big fan of that team. You guys discussed it, I think.
Yeah, it'll be the Alpha Flight one.
Oh, is that who it is? Is that who it is?
He can't tell you, even if it is.
Oh my God! On my screen, I was looking at Ian and not thinking Travis would try to answer me. I'm like, Ian, is it?
I thought
you know what? Alpha Flight was cool.
Was where he.
Yeah, I know. I'm like, Alpha Flight was cool with the X-Men animated series. I have to admit that. I mean, it's wacky. Yeah. It's definitely a wacky team. But like when the X-Men animated series happened, and you got like that episode of Wolverine's Past or whatever, that was pretty cool. Like you know, I've seen Sasquatch there. I don't know. I'm walking around.
Alpha Flight the only Canadian team?
Yeah.
It's at this point. I mean, I don't know how many. They don't have much competition, I doubt.
True. Very true.
Yeah.
There might be more of them up there. They're just in the bit that no one lives in.
Yeah. Well, that was Tony Perna's favorite, right? Was that what he was?
Tony Perna, yeah.
Oh, great artist.
Ian himself. Yeah. Oh, yeah. He was a blast. Yeah. What a trip.
Yeah, you guys talked all the best. Really liked your Dave Palumbo.
Oh, yeah. We've had a lot
Dave's coming back. We just need to schedule it.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah, we need to talk to Dave post Masterpieces just to, now the dust has settled a little bit, just to talk about all the artwork he couldn't talk about.
Yeah. Maybe do breaking on EPAC with him or something. That'd be kind of cool.
Could do. Yeah, we could do.
Awesome.
Oh, that sounds good. Yeah, we'll get even better if we get him to pay for it.
I like that a lot more.
Well, I think he sold all the paintings, so, you know, he's good for it.
He's got the dough.
Yeah, he should be in good shape.
He's got the dough. You know, you're a poor college professor, and I'm, you know, I live in England, and they don't pay as much. So, you know, they just pay us in gruel here. It's like that Oliver Twist. Please, sir, can I have some more?
More? Nobody asked for more.
Nobody asked for more. I've just dropped an Oliver Twist reference in.
Yeah, that was nicely done.
It was good. It was good.
Top marks, man.
Nice bit of Dickens. Nice bit of Dickens. These are our times for the little people. Anyway, so we've got Marvel Annual coming back, and we've got a set that you can't talk about a team that you can't tell us.
That pretty much sums it up.
That's good. That's good. Listen, wild speculation is exactly what the hungry masses that we represent thrive on. I think it's fair to say, Norrin, wouldn't you?
Love it. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Looking at threads with comments of like 140, like, no, it's not. Yes, it is. No, it's not. It's going to be great.
Yeah. And then someone threatens to take someone else outside on one of the offshoot comments, and it's just like, yeah. Anyway.
Well, whenever we get close to dropping the actual knowledge about it, I'll let you guys know and see if you guys are right.
What I was going to say, what I actually said to one of your colleagues, is we should have a regular Upper Deck correspondent.
Yeah.
And all of the people at Upper Deck I spoke to pointed at you. So
Travis, he's like, oh God.
Well, he said himself at the top of the show, he's a company man. He's got the cap, he's got the mug.
Yeah, but I also said half the stuff that I tell you, it can't be trusted, right?
He's a mystery.
We're not even entirely sure that you work for them in a paid capacity.
I'm going to have to use a voice modulator just to not reveal who this man is. People are going to... We can't even do a video version because they're going to figure out where he lives.
No, people will figure out they've tuned into Saw 12 or something like that if you use a voice modulator, so we can't do that.
You can't run, can't hide.
You know what? I'm giddy from looking at all of that. I'm already starting to think about how little food my young family can live on. So I'll work that out and I'll come back to you. That's exciting. Do you?
Dad, why can't I live in the house? That's for the cards, okay? We live outside.
Daddy, I'm hungry. No, you've had your piece of bread for this week. That's just the wife. Anyway, so
pretty much we need to make edible cards, at least base cards edible.
You do need to make edible cards. Well, some of our members would attest that you already have, but we won't talk about that. Do you?
I know I'm going to get an angry call from our legal department after this.
You probably will. Like I said, well, you've got maybe this next week's episode. So you've probably got about 3 or 4 day window on the edit. So
I can get pretty far away by then.
Yeah, that's good. Do you? Because you mentioned you collected comics growing up, and I think you know Bubby did, and Jason clearly did, and I know Jason's into his graded books as well. So, do you? Did you collect cards as well, or do you now? Because I know there's a funny thing in that you can't really collect your own product because of the, that's been
you can
before, but
you can collect it, but you just can't sell it as an Upper Deck employee.
I'm with you. Okay,
company policy.
That makes sense.
But I do have a nice collection of product that I've bought since I've been working there, just because I'm a fan of it. I know the hard work that went into it, and it's just we put out a great product, and I'm a fan, I'm a total fan of it. But I gotta say, back in the day, was not a fan of trading cards of entertainment stuff. Like I was a big time baseball card collector. I loved baseball cards. That's where my passion was for cards. I loved comics and I loved cards, but for some reason the two didn't meet in the entertainment world on trading cards. And I don't know why, but I don't even recall seeing them very often. And maybe it was just where I was at or whatever, or the stores I frequented. But for some reason, they just didn't make that leap. Still have all of my baseball cards and comic books. I still love keeping all that stuff, pull them out every now and again.
Yeah, that is always really nice when you have like that secret day or something and you just hang out. You're like, you know what? Let me look at my stuff real quick. I love that when that sneaks up on me. It's just such a good feeling. And
there's no fear of mint condition for mine because I did not have a concept of that when I was young. So everything that I have has my energy in it, so to speak.
Well loved, I think is the expression.
Well loved.
So what were because you're wearing a Spider-Man t-shirt. So that fills me with optimism. So what was your books growing up?
It's funny because when you work in an arena where you're surrounded by people that are comic book fans and are very very knowledgeable about comic books, it's almost like throwing a softball out there when you say you're a Spider-Man fan, because there's just so much more to it, you know.
Yes, welcome to my world.
But I was a Spider-Man fan. I loved everything Spider-Man. I just could not get past how entertaining he was as a character, and I kind of related to him as kind of a nerdy guy that was looked over a lot, you know. Sad to say, but I just felt like the fact that he brought humor into everything that he did was just top notch. Like, I really loved that. It was entertaining. And you know what? I mean, through those books, so many awesome characters were introduced, you know, and I was a huge fan. You know, I wasn't as big a fan of X-Men that a lot of people my age are or were. You know, just to me, they just didn't resonate. You know, it was a team that seemed a little, I don't want to say too serious, because there was a serious side to Spider-Man as well. You know, he was dealing with some real world problems with lack of money and whatnot, and the health of his family, but for some reason, just the levity that Spider-Man brought kind of made that more approachable to me than say the seriousness of X-Men, which was serious all the time almost.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was. It really was. I mean, it's funny because that's kind of how I thought about it too. Like, growing up, I liked Spider-Man, but I was definitely the X-Men kid. You know what I mean? Yeah. I don't know. Gambit had my card, man. I was just like, everything Gambit. I want to throw every playing card ever. I was a fan of Donatello. I was a fan of Donatello, so the staff is like what I'm all about, you know. But it wasn't until I was older and I saw Spider-Man: Homecoming where I understood how, and I loved Tobey Maguire Spider-Man, because I was there when that first trailer came out. Remember that first Spider-Man trailer came out, and you had like the city and the helicopter gets stuck in the web, and you're just like, give it to us. Remember? Yeah, I always think about that trailer because I remember that trailer being like, finally, you know what I mean? Like, it's happening. But it wasn't until Homecoming where I saw Tom Holland's rendition of the character, and and the writing there, and I was like, man, Spider-Man just has such a good heartfelt perspective that a lot of superheroes don't have. You know what I mean? And that's what Spider-Man was so great about, being in like cameos of other things. You know what I mean? Like, just like such a calming but yet funny demeanor. It wasn't like, you know what I mean? There was no threat there, and the worries were not as heavy. So I totally see what you're talking about. Yeah, but I didn't appreciate that much until I got older. I didn't really notice.
I tell you, one of the smartest things Marvel did, now I'm not sure if it was planned to be like this, but it's that Marvel team up book where you always had Spidey and he was with someone different each week.
I love those.
And that was just such a really good introduction to it was a good tryout for them of new characters that maybe would have had one appearance or maybe cameoed in there, but it was also a really good way to get a taste of the other characters in the Marvel universe without having to buy the books and get into all the continuity. Because for me, the X-Men always felt too dense. Yeah, there was too much backstory I'd need to know. Whereas for Spider-Man, there was backstory, but it was kind of it was just much more accessible.
Yeah, you can get him right away, and I think that's an example of how they rolled out a lot of mechanisms through Spider-Man that became popular afterwards. Like I didn't really appreciate story arcs until probably the Kraven the Hunter series with Spider-Man, which was epic in my world. Like, I could not wait for the next one to come out. But that was really the first time that it was like, this story is not ended. I can't wait to see where this goes. And now, of course, story arcs are a very popular part of comic culture every year.
Yeah. Well, I had two. I had two on the Spider-Man. Mine was Death of Jean DeWolf. And it was dark. It was really dark for Marvel at the time. It was Peter David. Spectacular Spider-Man 107 to 110. It's about the Sin Eater, basically a serial killer.
Oh, I've heard of that. Yeah.
Guy with a shotgun, who reappeared, and she's 130 something. And then there was that whole, because it was not long after the whole Dallas thing, like, Who Shot JR? That thing where they kept people guessing.
Oh, yeah.
And so, of course, Marvel kind of did that very cleverly with Who's the Hobgoblin.
Mm-hmm.
Ah, that's right.
So issue after issue after issue. It's like, who is the Hobgoblin?
The fashion designer. Like, just didn't see that coming.
I know, it's just crazy. Do you know what? I'm still not entirely sure I ever found out or read the issue. I think I've got it, but I don't think I ever read the issue where you found out who the first one was, because I know there have been subsequent. And then, of course, Todd McFarlane came along and blew the bloody doors off. So,
right.
But they were doing fine with it before he came along, I'm sure. But as your T-shirt will attest to, just completely changed the visual look of the character forever.
Yeah, I love that.
Absolutely.
So, redefined it. Anyway, very quick. I always ask these pop quiz questions of all our Upper Deck guests, and you're no escape on that one. We kind of already answered the first one: Avengers or X-Men.
Avengers. To be honest, I wasn't a huge fan of Avengers either when I was younger, when I was really diving into comics for the first time. But I was a fan of some of those characters individually. So I really became more appreciative of Avengers once they were involved in MCU, much like you with Spider-Man: Homecoming.
Yeah.
New appreciation for them.
Yeah,
100%. Me too.
I always found Spidey crossed over more with the Avengers characters as well, because he kind of was one of them occasionally.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. That's right.
Which was bizarre. So
the first team he ran into was, I think, Fan 4, right?
Damn right, baby.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, they were the guys trying to sort out his costume.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, the paper bag. I love that. That's so much.
So they were trying to. Well, no, before that, in the very first, almost maybe an issue very, very early on, there's a Fantastic Four crossover. Yeah, because the Fantastic Four were the only team.
Yeah.
At the time Spider-Man started. So I think they're in one of the very first issues.
I'll have to look back. That's really cool.
Yeah, it was not Amazing Fantasy. It might be issue 1. It's one of the very, very first issues of Spider-Man. The Fantastic Four in it, because they were already established. So they came on to boost sales.
They're very early. Very early.
Yeah.
So anyway, interesting. Have you had a trading card made of yourself?
Oh, sort of.
And I know the rite of initiation that you kind of all have at Upper Deck now. So,
well, so I'm also I'm in charge of the business side of the gaming division of what we do, and so we have a deck building card game that we've made called Legendary, and I am a bystander in that game. I think I'm a photographer taking a picture of Spider-Man. How appropriate!
No, that's good. So cool.
This is good because the photos of everyone's bystander cards go into the tasting notes, apart from Jason, who didn't tell us. Although I think I found what Jason's was. There's a Tycoon bystander card.
I can neither confirm nor deny.
No, I'm pretty certain it is, because I've held up pictures of that card next to the picture of Jason. In fact, they're both by my bed. And I look at them and I think,
you keep inside, Ian. We talked about this.
We can edit this out.
That's true. But
we're all friends here. I'm just telling Travis.
Yeah.
So, legendary bystander photographer. That's brilliant. Okay.
That's really cool, man. That's awesome.
Yeah, I was excited about it. What's funny is my card, Legendary is something that is not, there's no rarity built into it, right? It's you buy a box, I buy a box, it's all the same cards. So whenever there's a bystander released, it's mass produced, basically. They're plentiful. However, we did an experiment one year where we infused legendary artwork and some legendary playable cards within a trading card set called Marvel 3D. That's where my card debuted. So my card's actually a little more rare than the others out there.
Yeah. We talk about that 3D set. I have a lot of friends who are collecting that set, and the sketch cards for that set were just, it's so underappreciated. I think Marvel 3D is just, people don't really know and are not quite sure, but there's some really cool surprises in that set. Yeah,
I agree. That one was high on concept, and it didn't execute the way that we wanted it to. I think early on there were two camps that were built out. There were their legendary players who felt like, we're used to getting everything all at once and not have to chase it, and so we don't appreciate that. And then there were trading card guys that were like, well, this is based on a game that doesn't resonate with me. I don't understand what this stuff is. So it didn't grab either camp strongly. But if you really strip it down, a box of that, I mean, was a return on your investment like
100% every time.
Oh yeah, every single time.
Every single time. Well, we were doing that like my boy Kevin Letty, super nice.
Yes.
You know Letty, right?
Yes.
You've spoken to him. Yeah. Well,
Kevin
Letty's really gotten into it lately. Yeah. Kevin number 2. Yeah. So he's really gotten into it recently, and he was cracking a box, and he was like, just getting exactly what he wanted for it, and the box was very, very, very cost effective. Well, I really liked Legendary because I didn't realize Surfer was in Legendary, so I had to buy the box. I had no idea. I didn't realize he was in the Heralds. And there are 4 Surfer cards or whatever. And I got the box and I was like, this is the nicest Surfer collecting I've ever had to do because I didn't have to hunt it down or bury a body somewhere. And I just got it and I just held the box and I was like, oh, it feels so nice. It's so warm inside.
Yeah, we kept that.
Yeah, and they're really pretty.
Intentionally vague on the packaging. We didn't write them into the copy, and we put the board on the box image, but it was kind of not prevalent. Wasn't really in your face. So it was a surprise for me. Yeah, it was really cool. Yeah, I have it here. It's really nice. Really nice. Yeah. Awesome.
Nice. And I'm going to ask you one more question.
Sure.
What product are you so far most proud of having worked on?
Ooh, that one's pretty tough. I've been at Upper Deck a long time at this point, and worked on a lot of different areas.
Yeah.
You can plead the 5th. You don't feel any pressure
come back
from
to
us
on this. You can come back.
I mean, you're asking me to pick a favorite child, right? I mean, it's
exactly,
seriously.
Yeah.
I'll just say I'm going to leave it with a Premier. And the reason why I say that is a Premier is a challenge to get out the door every time. It's a tough, logistically, it's a tough piece, tough product to put together. Mm-hmm. Very rewarding when you do get it out the door. But there's so many obstacles because it's so reliant on getting quality art on a good timeline and making sure that you're maintaining that brand image the way it should be and the equity's still high. Yeah. So whenever we get one of those together and get it out the door, I'm really excited and proud for that moment, even though I barely have anything to do with it. I mean, honestly, it's everyone else. People like Jennifer, who's working really hard on the day-to-day, and people like the product managers that are coming up with the ideas, and those people are the heroes.
I love the tins.
I think it's good. Yeah, your product is just fun. That's just a really fun. And I love seeing box openings of that too. It just always catches me by surprise because it's just really cool concepts. And I feel like artists have a lot of fun on it.
Is it a box or is it a pack? When is a box a pack? When is a pack a box? We've had this conversation before.
Oh, God.
I think curious to know. Yes. The answer is yes. Travis, internally, we call it a unit, if that helps.
Oh, okay. Good.
I like that. That's good.
Yes, thank you.
Yes, I love it.
A unit.
Favorite.
A unit. Marvelous. Travis, you're a delightful young man. Thank you for spending your working. I mean, you are on the clock because it is a working day. So
Well, they don't technically pay me, but I would be on the clock if I wasn't in the basement.
You would be on the clock.
Off.
Yeah,
right.
No, that's fine. That's fine. We can barely see him. His webcam's good.
Yeah, it's very good.
Travis, this is marvelous. I feel like I've made a friend, quite frankly.
Oh, likewise. Thank you.
You're the warmest young man that we've had on the podcast so far this year. So thank you.
Out of the 2 podcasts this year.
I just unintentionally dissed Bill Sienkiewicz.
Yeah, you did.
Never mind. Yeah, I need to rethink that. So all that remains, we'll edit that out as well as all the other stuff that we'll probably forget to edit out. All that remains for me to say, Travis, you know how we sign off our episodes?
Yes, sir. Please, everyone, enjoy collecting.
Thanks for listening to the Marvel Card Collectors Podcast. Visuals and tasting notes for each episode can be found on our Facebook page. You can subscribe and leave us a voicemail via our home on anchor.fm/MCCP. We're also on iTunes, Spotify, and all major podcast platforms. Please take a second to subscribe, like, and review our show wherever you get your podcasts. Our podcast can be found by Googling @the MCC Pod, which will also find us on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and Instagram. Our Facebook community is at MCCW, Marvel Card Collectors Worldwide, and MMC, Marvel Masterpieces Collectors. The great music we use is called Rocket Power by Kevin MacLeod. Thanks to the collectors, artists, and creators who support the Marvel Cards Fan Collective. We'll see you next time, and remember, it's a small hobby but a fun one. Make mine Marvel and enjoy collecting.